How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And I feel like it's been a while. I've been so busy with some IRL stuff, so it's been a while since I made a video, but today that's going to change because we're going to be talking about the revolving shotgun from the Vanguard beta. Now, I know the beta weekend's pretty much over at this point. I think as I'm recording this, I have maybe just a few hours left, and I want to talk on my thoughts about it. Now, this isn't an overview of both shotguns. There are two. There's the revolving shotgun and then the auto loading. That I'll save for a different video because I just didn't really have enough time to play with that one and unlock it really. So I got a lot of time with the revolving shotgun, and so I'll talk about that one. This gun is pretty interesting because it's both a really strong and awesome shotgun, but at the same time is really crappy and really hard to make work for different reasons. So I'll go over the good and the bad, and then at the end I'll share my class that I've been using the most and having the most success with. So stay tuned for that. If you've been playing the beta and you've been leveling up this gun from 0 all the way to level 30, God bless you. You deserve some sort of a Medal of Honor because this thing is a pain in my ass to level up. And I mean that very, very sincerely. This is one of the most difficult things to level up, I would say, in the game. But one of the big things that's not really related to the gun itself is the map design doesn't really lend itself to shotguns sometimes. Yeah, there's some maps that seem to be really good for close range, but like hotel and stuff, there's so much clutter and you get shot through pretty much every surface because it's all made of paper or cardboard seemingly. So it's really annoying when you try to duck out of cover, and then maybe lag comp is also in there and you get shot around corners, or people with a death machine shoot through 2 layers of concrete and kill you on the other side. There's a lot of really annoying things like that in the game, but that's not really because of the shotgun itself. But the shotgun itself might surprise you. I think this is actually a really strong shotgun. Now, yes, there's a lot of crap, which I'll talk about later, but the best thing about this thing is the power for 2-shot kills. This thing has an enormous 2-shot range for a spammy shotgun like this. It's really strong. And I mean, like, it's surprising how far you can get 2-shot kills. I'm always caught off guard. I'm like, did I really deserve that kill? And it's really great. And so because of that, Sledgehammer Games, if you're watching, I don't think this needs to be tuned anymore in damage or range. I think you nailed it perfectly because this sort of blends the sort of high risk reward of a pump action, but kind of mixes in that semi-auto. It's kind of like the VLK Rogue in that sense, where you can get a follow-up shot, and if you don't kill him, you can get another follow-up shot quick enough, and it has great range. I think that they nailed it with this one in terms of damage. I really do. Even though we don't have any one-shot kill ability, we don't really need it with this type of gun. Another really cool thing about this gun is the slug rounds. You've probably seen a lot of people make a video on them already, or seen some really wonky clips on Twitter. Well, yeah, slugs are back, and this gun is a 2-shot most of the time with slugs, which is also really good if you're accurate. It is pretty hard to be accurate. I actually had to turn my sensitivity down because I noticed I was kind of over-swiping targets a lot. I kind of carried over my sensitivity from Modern Warfare. That didn't really work, so I toned it down just a tiny bit, and that seemed to help a lot. But slugs, if you hit headshots, it seems to be a one-shot kill no matter what. Of course, I haven't really tested the range, but I did notice if you hit feet or legs or something like that, it does seem to take maybe an extra shot, maybe 3 shots to kill. But slugs are really fun, and they're really good, so I recommend trying them out at least. But me personally, I preferred using buckshot on this gun. It just felt a little bit more, I don't know, forgiving. As far as good things to say about this shotgun other than those two things, it does look pretty cool. It's a pretty badass design. It sounds and feels really awesome. But as far as good things go, that's pretty much it. Everything else is kind of crap, and that's why it makes this gun so difficult to use, and I'll get into that now. Now, the first and most glaring issue for me personally was the sprint out time. And yes, we didn't have access to all the attachments that were going to help with sprint out time, but the base sprint out time is insanely slow for a shotgun, and this is a movement speed weapon. Like, this is something where you need to be able to move quick and close the gap efficiently, and with the sprint out time like it has, it's just not working. Now, what are the sprint out times? Well, I personally didn't go and test them, but Exclusive Ace did make a video on them. Even though shotguns weren't explicitly stated in the video, Ace, being the badass and the most chill guy around, decided to let me know personally on Twitter what the shotgun sprint out times were. So if you're watching, man, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And guys, you got to go subscribe to him if you're not. He's getting closer and closer to 1 million subs, so let's get him there. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. But yeah, shotguns in this game have a very slow sprint out time than normal. In Modern Warfare, the Model 680 and the Origin 12, the sort of average was about 284 milliseconds for sprint out time. But in this game, the revolving shotgun has a sprint out of about 317 milliseconds. That's pretty slow, and that's really bad for a gun that you have to be so mobile with. Of course, we do have attachments to help, like I said, but a lot of these attachments will hurt something that you really need, like recoil control. Another big issue this gun has is the recoil is a little too extreme without any attachments, and when you want to control that recoil, well, guess what? Your sprint to fire speed is going down, or your movement speed, or something like that. It's kind of frustrating because you can't really have it being that great of a gun because you'll just have it be too much recoil, or you'll be really slow with your sprint out speed, so you have to walk around corners. But for me personally, having that slow sprint out time is really what killed me. And if you're playing with this gun, you're going to notice it. There really isn't any attachment in the beta so far that truly helps with it. Maybe by a frame or two, but you are still going to be extremely slow sprint out speed. So when you use this gun, be sure to walk around corners and have your gun up ready to go in most cases. I hate having to play like that. I absolutely hate it, but it's kind of what you have to do to make it work in a lot of cases, because if they have an SMG, you're going to get killed 2 or 3 times over in the time it takes to get your 2 shots off. Now, in most people's eyes, I'd be willing to bet that the thing that they hate the most about this gun is the magazine size, and that is my next complaint. Now, 5 rounds for a base gun, sure, whatever. It takes 2 shots to kill no matter what. You can't get 1-shot kills with this gun, and that makes this thing pretty hard to use. But not just that, the magazine attachments aren't really that great. Yes, you do have the 3-round mag, which I think is the best because you basically get a one-on-one engagement. You kill them, you reload super quick, and it does help you a lot with that reload speed. And then you have another one-on-one engagement, and you can kind of do it. But if you have 2 people, you're pretty much screwed at that point. That's where the other magazine attachment, I think it's the Birdshot magazine, really comes in handy because you can kind of pace 2 shots, kind of run, maybe get 1 shell in, and then shoot another 2 shots and you're good to go. It helps, and it does help increasing to your like aim down sight speed and things like that. It's another great mag attachment. So I recommend either of those, maybe preferably the 5-round for most people, but if you're good enough, use the 3-round. I think you'll enjoy that one too. And of course, having a low magazine capacity is bad, but really what makes this thing even worse is the fact that reloading shell by shell takes like an hour. I mean, this is one of the slowest reload times I think I've ever seen for a shotgun.
They're taking Baker.
I think everyone can agree that the Gallo and the Street Sweeper specifically are really bad about this too, but I think that this one takes the cake because the Street Sweeper, which is notoriously bad, basically each shell goes in and it takes about 960 milliseconds. The revolving shotgun, each shell took about 1.367 seconds, 1,367 milliseconds. That to me is unacceptable. That is way too long for a gun like this. I think it needs to be toned down more in line with the Street Sweeper because 1.3 seconds, guys, that's in Call of Duty time, that's enormous. So basically, if you want to reload 5 shells, it's going to take about 6 seconds at least. That's just a little too much. I think it's overkill. So Sledgehammer, I would say tone that down. Bring it more in line with the Street Sweeper, maybe about 900 milliseconds, something like that, because this is just a little too much, and it really makes this gun that's already difficult to use basically even more of a paperweight. So even though this gun has the power and the range, the negatives really do hurt it, and it makes this gun so frustrating to use because you can't even get your gun up in time, your aim down sights time is a little slow, you're gonna die when you're reloading all the time. So it needs to be buffed up a little bit, but do not touch the damage or the range. Sledgehammer, you absolutely nailed it here. I think it's perfectly strong. It doesn't really need to be a one-shot kill. Yes, it's annoying when you don't, point blank barrel stuff them, get a one-shot kill, but I don't think it really needs it with the rate of fire. I just think that these other things like recoil and mag size, or rather reload speed, need to be buffed up a little bit. They're just a little too much given how difficult this thing is to use. But that's pretty much all I have for this shotgun. At the end of the day, it's got the potential, but it is being held severely back by these issues, and I really think they need to be tuned appropriately. But now, as always, I want to know what you think about this shotgun in the comments below. It seems to me that everyone thinks this is one of the worst shotguns we've ever had in Call of Duty, and I strongly disagree, but I do think it's in a pretty weak spot, not because of damage and range, but because of the other issues I mentioned. So let me know down below, what do you think of this one? What do you think of that other shotgun? I didn't really get much of a chance to use that with its attachments, and with all that being said, I want to see you guys in the next video.